Warning. This video contains spoilers. If you haven't read it yet, please read before watching the video. This story contains sensitive content that may disturb you. This video is my first summary of Tales from the Pizzaplex books. Before starting, I just wanted to say that this story contains sensitive content that may disturb you. So this is the last warning to get off this video. Thank you for watching, and let's start. The story starts with a car accident that hits a teenage kid. The medical team tried to save him, but in the end, our protagonist, Jessica, ends up saving him. Jessica wears a unique silver heart-shaped pendant. By scraping off the silver from the pendant onto the bodies, the person becomes healthy and even can bring a dead person to life. But, with that comes a prize. Every time she scrapes the silver, she becomes more frailer. Jessica works as a janitor at a hospital in the children's ward, but she sometimes goes to children who need help and scrapes silver off her pendant, and it helps the sick children to get better. The hospital staff found those silver pieces in the children's ward, which Jessica took off from her pendant. Jessica used to be a regular girl with friends. However, after making the wrong choice, she ran away from her home and went to live in a graveyard. She only goes to school so that people won't get suspicious. The hospital staff found her weird, and her co-worker, Nurse Macy, also started worrying about her well-being. One day in school, Jessica teamed up with a new kid called Robert to build a robot. Surprisingly, Robert treats her kindly compared to the other students that bully her. They called the robot Minibot 5000. Robert wanted to go to the scrapyard to get some parts, but Jessica dropped the idea because it reminded her of her past life. In the hospital, the staff is finding more silver junk more frequently. Meanwhile, in the hospital, a new girl named April has cancer. Nurse Macy approaches Father Jeremiah about Jessica, and the father says, "Everybody has a story that we don't know yet." Meanwhile, Jessica and Robert are making the Minibot 5000 while Jessica is in Robert's house. Robert asks her to go to prom with him, which she accepts. In the hospital chapel, Jessica feels distraught as she is confused over whether she still has the same goal. Meanwhile, Father Jeremiah enters the chapel, and he listens to Jessica. Jessica explains to Father Jeremiah her plan to help others to redeem herself from a wrong choice she made in the past, but she feels guilty that she is now trying to get some of her old life back. Father Jeremiah tells Jessica not to forget to treat herself. When Jessica leaves, Father Jeremiah sees a gear on the floor. Jessica approaches April and tells her about her current life, as April likes to use it to imagine she's well again. Jessica considers using the pendant to help her, but she decides to keep it so she can attend prom with Robert. Nurse Macy helps Jessica to buy a dress for the prom. Macy goes back to the hospital to search through her files of Jessica to find out where she lives. She goes to the address, finds out she is not living there and confronts Jessica. Jessica has a dream where a being with metal footsteps chases her and rips her limbs off her. The being takes her pendant away before the dream ends. On prom day, Jessica and Robert go to the prom and dance. When they kiss, grease appears on him. All the kids look at her in shock while others laugh at her, and she leaves the prom, believing that she is wrong and doesn't deserve happiness. Jessica rushes to the hospital to April's room to save her due to April's health declining lately. She locks the room and takes out her pendant and her knife, and that's the last we see of her. We switch perspective to Father Jeremiah, who bursts into April's room with the hospital staff. And he sees that April's health is excellent, and there is a pile of metal pieces on the floor. The staff is confused, and the only one that knows what happened is Father Jeremiah. This is the end of the story. The story reminds me of the stories in Fazbear Frights, To Be Beautiful. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in story number 2. Lally's Game.